Hey. All right. So I wanted to do, and we wanted to do, a quick reaction video. This is a video that we had mentioned in our um, previous video about Trump and him, why it is that he must win the 2024 election. Um, I want to get into this, so I'm going to hit play. Are you ready?
Yep, let's go.
There is a lot of talk online in right wing spaces about who should run for president on the Republican ticket in the 2024 election. There are various groups of people who are advocating for a variety of candidates, but I'm afraid there is only one legitimate choice at this stage. It has to be Trump. It's not simply because Trump is the most popular candidate with Republicans in America, even though he is. It's not just because the strongmen of the world watched themselves under his unpredictable leadership, even though they did. It's not just because the world was more stable and peaceful when he was calling the shots, even though it was. It's not because Trump achieved energy independence for the United States, which is what happened. It's not even because, as a businessman, he knew how to run a roaring economy, pandemic issues aside. It wasn't the extreme lows in poverty and unemployment and the extreme highs in wage growth in the stock market, even though everyone remembers how well they were doing under Trump. And while most voters believe it was
We should pause it because of fair use. We had to pause it for a second.
Oh, sure.
In
I
case,
feel like he
right?
probably wouldn't care, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, good call. But
So
basically, just as a
he's
little
right
bit of
now he's listing all the pros, and but then it's a build up, and he's gonna do this for a long time, I'm guessing, and then he's gonna give the reasons why people are
yeah,
fighting against him.
yeah. Basically, yeah, he's things were really good under Trump is so far what it's kind of all about.
Yeah,
the
yeah. All right.
Democrats who ran the economy into the ground. All of these are good reasons to expect that Trump can turn Biden's sinking ship around, but these are not the real reasons why it has to be Trump. I've got no doubt that Rand Paul or Ron DeSantis could very competently implement a similar agenda. However, it has to be Trump because Trump is the protagonist of an important moral story whose narrative arc has yet to resolve, and resolve it must. Now, you might be thinking,
So yeah, it's him. It's interesting to think about it in the sense of like this whole thing. I mean, it's very kind of like taking everything of Trump and like kind of putting it all on his shoulders as though he is this kind of champion of
I wish they
champions.
chose a better protagonist because wow, the bad acting in those movies.
Well, I mean, Luke Skywalker though. I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
kind of shows it demonstrates the point well, right? I mean, yeah, but Luke Skywalker wasn't he wasn't like universally hated by the left, right? He was
Yeah, yeah. That's
kind of a
true.
thing, but in a sense, he kind of was by the dark side, Um so yeah.
"Hmm, what? Why is that important? And the answer to that is that every moral lesson that humans understand about the world, they understand through the art of storytelling. Take yourself, for example. You know where you are and where you are supposed to be because you have the story of yourself in your head. You were born somewhere to certain parents, and a series of coherent events in your life led you to be who you are now and where you are now, and that explains why this is the case. It is the story that Trump presented to the American people that brought him to power in 2016.
I think that is a very important
Yeah, it's true.
thing to think about is that if he's gone through so much, right? And for him to just kind of be cut off now, right before he's able to complete his mission, um, handing it off to somebody else is a
Yeah,
difficult
it's
thing
very
for
feels bad, man. I get it.
yeah.
It's I mean it's a good argument. This is a good case.
Yep.
America used to be great, but it was being run into the ground by people who, fundamentally, despised their own country and sneered at the beating heart of it, the regular American working family. These people who thought they were better than the average American decided to use their positions of power and privilege to do your country down and raise other countries up in their estimation and their prestige, while filthily enriching themselves at your expense.
Okay,
It is not
hold up.
acceptable.
So
When she gets all excited.
So because this is a target, this is for primary voters. This is okay. Otherwise, I don't like when they purposely speed it up so they look weird. Look like
They do the zoom in and stuff like that, but it's all like to illustrate a point, right? Is like
So
these are the types
they
of
made them look
people-
like they're
He made
weird
them
enough
look
on their
like
own.
what they are.
They're weird enough on their own. Then you have to play it up by having it at triple speed or whatever else, where they look crazy. Because it's to primary voters, it's fine. But in general, I like to see there be less slaps in the face in videos like this. You don't want to anger people that are on the other side.
Yeah, but this isn't for people on the other side.
It's for primary voters.
This is to illustrate a point, right? And when you have someone like her standing up and she's getting all excited and she's like, we can kind of make this connection of like, yeah, that is, I mean, you look at her with all of her wonder stock portfolio of success. You look at all of these aspects of things of how they have been profiting off of all of these things, that imagery, and even if you speed it up or slow it down or whatever you do,
it was a small
the message
comment.
is still there.
It's just the idea that they could have done could have done a clip further advanced along without having to have them talk and look weird. They could,
but it wouldn't have been as entertaining, and I think that in a large part, the entertainment value of it is more valuable than being nice about it, because these people are not nice about it. They're sitting there giddy about the greed that
primary voters.
Pulling off
So
of people.
Correct. I'm just trying to make some sort of commentary. I don't really know what to say.
Sure.
So far, it sounds good. I don't want to be sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, here we go.
At least not to anyone who loves America. To hell with these traitors. It was time to make America great again. And that was Trump's message. He repudiated every single member of the coastal elite and won a great victory that, to be frank, I think only he could have won. Because there is only one Donald J. Trump, with his character, with his fame, his self-evident patriotic spirit. And I think that is what touched the hearts of so many millions of Americans and propelled him to glory. It's also what drove
such a beautiful side of just like
it is. It made me smile.
They pan across. It's just like, and I love the imagery of like him patriot of I'm so rich, like his character and just like how he can go about being himself.
This is the very rosy picture of him. This is the very rosy picture of Trump for sure. I mean, this is what everyone loves about him, and the problem is not this stuff. The problem is that half the time you feel embarrassed because, oh my gosh, he just said that, didn't he?
Well, it's what
then you have to like not defend him. Just be like, just okay, just whatever. Like you have to try to not like you don't want to defend the bullshit or be forced to defend it because you're defending Trump. And so like you're in this scenario where like you still support Trump, but I don't like that. And so, but this is
most of the things that people. Most of the things that he says that people don't like come from the media who have twisted it and turned it into something into an alternate interpretation that is the worst interpretation possible, so that's how you interpret him in this negative light. There's actually not, I mean, there's things that he said that I'm kind of like maybe not, but I feel like I'm kind of more in tune, I guess. And I understand the meaning behind it. I understand kind of where he's going with some of the things
that
are more
articulate without understanding exactly his person. Like you have to kind of get him, and
he's
that's
not without flaw.
And
you have to kind of not. You can't expect everybody to get him, in the way that some of his supporters do.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Democrats and a sizable number of Republicans absolutely mad. He stood to overturn decades of innovation and self-enrichment that they had so insidiously worked to accomplish. They hated him not because of his flaws, which we all have, but despite them, because at the bottom of it, his heart was in the trim. So they did everything they could to stop him. Non-stop insults, condemnations, misrepresentations, lies, smears, false investigations, and eventually this took its toll. And it seemed to those regular folk who supported Trump that the coastal elites had stolen his victory and instead installed a geriatric puppet who would enact their anti-American agenda.
True international effort to pressure.
And if it had ended
So
there,
ridiculous.
then maybe none of this would.
It's amazing.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah. They didn't
I would
slow
say-
anything down there.
I say we need to rewind and watch that again, like 10 seconds.
True international effort to pressure.
And if it had ended there, then maybe none of this would be required. But it didn't end there, did it? Instead, the Biden regime has decided to abandon the necessary tradition of a functioning republic, that is, not persecuting the previous administration, has instead weaponized every institution that they can against anyone who was close to Trump. Bannon, Flynn, Stone, and many more, all targeted because of their associations with Trump. And it doesn't end there, of course, because now the Biden regime is hiring 87,000 new IRS agents. And who do you think they're going to be going after? Democrat voters in blue states? Don't be ridiculous. And finally, we get the coup de grace, the FBI storming Mar-a-Lago unannounced, allegedly to find classified documents, as if there was some higher authority on classification than the president himself.
That story's still getting
Didn't have
legs.
Hillary Clinton.
They're pursuing it.
Yeah. And then it's what's amazing to me is that like he has it locked behind a key. They know where it is.
Yes.
They're in negotiations surrounding it. And then Biden is sitting here with boxes of them, with boxes of classified documents in his garage that's unlocked.
Since Obama, yeah.
Yeah, and in his like he's got them all over the place, and nobody's paying. No,
they're not going to
nothing really
prosecute
is happening
those.
to
They're
that.
going to prosecute Trump because Trump deserves it, right?
Yeah. Okay, I got to move on because I got to get her face off of the screen.
Didn't happen to Hunter Biden or anyone connected with Jeffrey Epstein, and you know why. This was political. It doesn't even matter if the Biden regime wasn't aware that the FBI was going to do it. The Democrats turned the FBI into their political machine, and now it has a will of its own. So what this reveals to us is the shape of the cartel that is currently occupying the seats of power in the United States. A gross, corrupted, degenerate, Machiavellian collection of villains who have decided that they cannot live in peace with their fellow countrymen and do not care about the established rules and customs of the republic in which they live. They will break any rule, tell any lie, and persecute any citizen as long as it helps them maintain their hold on power. This cannot be allowed to stand.
Very good point, right? All of these norms, all of these typical things that we have gone. I mean, you just think about how many things that the Democrats complained about of the norms that Trump was breaking, right? And I mean, they flipped out because Trump didn't get a dog. You know, There's so many things that they flip out about, but they don't mention anything about this. It's like, oh, these norms, it's whatever because screw Trump. That's why.
This is not a question of mere politics anymore. This is a question of cosmic justice and the right ordering of the world. This is a question of whether right or wrong matter anymore. Whether this evil cabal should be allowed to destroy whoever they want, even an ex-president, at will and get away with it. They are ruining you, they are ruining your country, and they are ruining the entire peaceful ordering of your world, and they expect to get away with it. And they did it all because you chose Trump as your champion.
So this part, so the whole thing is selling Trump, but earlier in the video, he was trying to say, "Hey, this is why he's got to be the guy," and that seemed like a great story arc. And now it's just I feel like the dragging on was just saying, just can't. This is
Well,
this
he's
is
saying
pushing-
what he's getting at is that like Trump has done so much good stuff, but there's been so many scandals and political motivations in order to remove him because he has been effectively not playing the establishment game, and that now they will go to such great lengths to remove him from even having a possible shot at winning, that they will
I guess so. We
destroy
should
everything.
want it just for that sake, just to thwart their efforts, honestly. But
Say again?
just to thwart the efforts of the people that would stop him almost seems like a valiant,
Well, if the people have voted for him in order to take care of these things, and if the system, this system that they are pushing out there with the FBI and investigations and like made up stories and hoaxes and all these things, if they're going to go to those great lengths in order to take him out, when we are the ones who are getting him in order to stop this kind of stuff, what it ends up being, well, he'll make the point here.
This is why it must be Trump. He became the protagonist of this story, and we must see it through to its end. Trump must be the nominee in 2024, and furthermore, he must win.
Okay.
So it's basically
we did bring
because
it back to that idea. Good.
yeah. So
I never heard of these people before. That's nice.
oh yeah, these guys are great. So these guys, so kind of in a sense, what he's saying is like the people voted for him in order to clear out all of this crazy stuff. And if Trump doesn't get to see his story arc complete, then we are effectively the losers of it, because we are the ones who it's our story arc, and he is our tool. He's our representative.
Here's a representative champion, right?
Yeah, he's the guy that is meant to say, hey, this is what, like, I am enacting the people's will. This is for the people.
So this paints a great picture of him and all the good things, and I feel good about it. But he's got to, for me right now, when I watched briefly some of his rallies and things, the only thing that made me feel good was the CNN
town hall.
CNN thing, town hall. But for the most part, I'm not excited about it. I feel like it's a little bit in the petty, like, revenge spot. I want to see him talk about the future stuff a lot more often. I want to see the energy, and I think he'll get there. Too soon, right? It's too soon because you don't want to peak too soon. But like that's what I need to see from him. I need to be able to see the same type of energy and the same type of like we're gonna go ahead and like we're gonna do this, or we're gonna accomplish all the good things. I just feel like there's too much time he spent reflecting on the January 6th situation, or just in general the past and how he's been poorly mistreated, which is, it's like true, but that's not helping. I want energy forward.
You also got, I feel like you also got to understand that like the media needs to be burned down on it, and the people need to be burned out on it, so that you can focus on the future, so that you can focus on all this other stuff. And now is the time to burn it all out. And so when we have when the town hall kind of comes out, and you can see the burnout starting to crumble, because as you saw during the Trump CNN town hall, they would ask him, hey, well, what about, January 6th? What about the election results?
He's saying, if you're going to ask me this, I'm going to give you the answer you don't want to hear. I'm just going to say it.
Well, he said that one of the viewers was like, well, if you don't want him to talk about this stuff, then stop asking him about this.
Right.
Stuff, right? Kind of a situation.
They
And
keep
so
on
these
playing the
moments
insane game
need to
of
happen.
asking the same question over and over again until he's sane enough to say the correct answer.
Right.
No, he's going to say the same answer. Why are you asking and then getting the answer you don't want? Then
We've heard it all
complaining about it?
before, you
Yeah.
know, and how many times do we need to hear him say it? And which the only
It's
way
true.
that's effectively going to end up
It's
coming is
just
because you keep asking him.
I think it's also because in his rallies and stuff, he doesn't script them. He just kind of goes off, and sometimes, and if he runs out of things to say, he can always go back to those. These are some tried and true things. He goes back to the idea of, we wouldn't be in this situation if we had, if the election wasn't rigged or whatever else. Like, he just comes to a point where he has no, when he's talking, because he's just talking. Sometimes he just goes there, but it goes there so much that it feels like he's always focusing on that, and he just fills a lot of time with it. And I think I wish he would not fill time with that anymore.
I don't think it'll be that forever.
Hopefully not.
But I'm sure that it'll be a line, but I don't think it'll be his platform. Right?
So starting the beginning of next year, obviously,
yeah,
that's where things need to accelerate up, and I really want to see. Probably later this year, because the primaries will be wrapping up. When are the primary elections?
I don't know.
I am curious about.
It comes when it comes, as far as I can tell. But okay, I think we're good to end.
Good. Yep.
We
all right. Try something new. Just said, let's react to this. It's actually 20 minutes. Wow.
Yeah. All right. We were aiming for like 10, 15 minutes, but hey, 20. That's fine. I wasn't thinking we were going to be pausing as much, but yeah.
Fair use. I just, in case it ever gets, whatever. I have no idea.
Well, if you liked it, if you made it this far, drop a like. I need to nail my outro. If you made it this far, drop a like. If you liked it, hit the subscribe button, and if you're looking forward to the next one, hit the bell icon. All right, take care, guys.